Welcome to Lose Lips, all the things you wanted to say but didn't know how to say it. Today's topic is Ukraine is starting to receive more security guarantees and ammunition. Now, lately, I keep reading about countries now offering security guarantees as well as ammunition to Ukraine. The situation surrounding Ukraine's security has garnered significant attention from both Europe and the United States. Now, Ukraine's nuclear weapons. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Ukraine found itself in possession of a substantial nuclear arsenal, making it the third largest nuclear power globally at that time. However, in 1994, Ukraine voluntarily gave up its nuclear weapons under an agreement known as the Budapest Memorandum. This multilateral agreement, signed on December 5th, 1994, affirmed Ukraine's security and sovereignty in exchange for relinquishing its nuclear stockpiles. Now, what's interesting is that if they had kept those weapons, I doubt Putin would indeed have thought of invading them and starting this war. And from the statement above about sovereignty, you can see that Russia was not only biding its time when to invade, but they never respected that Ukraine was a sovereign nation. European and U.S. perspectives. Amid the ongoing conflict with Russia, there is a growing chorus of voices across Europe and the US advocating for a compromise solution. Some propose providing security guarantees to Russia, which has faced economic repercussions due to the invasion of Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron recently voiced such sentiments, but Ukrainian officials have pointed to the Budapest Memorandum as a reminder of the commitments made regarding Ukraine's territorial integrity. NATO's role. Now, NATO as an alliance does not directly provide weapons to Ukraine. However, individual member countries may do so bilaterally. NATO's primary focus is defending the territory of its member countries, and it treads cautiously to avoid being drawn into a wider conflict with nuclear armed Russia. Although now I don't really think they pay much attention to Putin anymore because he has actually been threatening the use of nukes for the past 2 years. Not only that, his army is weak. Actually, if you really think about it, he doesn't really even have an army. He has volunteers with no training. Now, Russia's demands. Russia has made sweeping demands for security guarantees from the US and NATO. These demands would actually significantly reshape the post-Cold War security order in Europe, including restrictions on NATO expansion and military activities in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. No one, and I mean no one, trusts Putin or Russia anymore because he and the country are not only delusional, but they have proved that they are liars and can't and won't be trusted. Recent developments. Now, Ukraine has secured long-term security deals with Germany and France. And this week, he has also secured many more. Well, not many more, but I think probably about five more countries have provided security deals. These agreements come at a critical time as Ukraine faces shortages in artillery ammunition. So, what are the security guarantees and why are they so important? Now, security guarantees for Ukraine refer to commitments made by other countries or international organizations to protect Ukraine's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and security. These guarantees are crucial for several reasons: deterrence against aggression, Security guarantees act as a deterrent against potential aggression from other nations by assuring Ukraine that it will receive support in case of external threats. These guarantees discourage hostile actions by adversaries. Stability and peace. In a region with historical tensions and ongoing conflicts, security guarantees contribute to stability and peace. They provide assurance to Ukraine and its citizens, allowing them to focus on development and prosperity rather than constant security concerns. Post Cold War order. After the Cold War, Ukraine voluntarily gave up its nuclear weapons in exchange for security assurances. These guarantees again were part of the Budapest Memorandum, which affirmed Ukraine's territorial integrity and sovereignty. Upholding these commitments is essential for maintaining the post Cold War security order in Europe. NATO and a European integration. Ukraine aspires to join NATO and the European Union. Security guarantees play a pivotal role in this integration process. Membership in these organizations provides collective defense mechanisms and enhances Ukraine's security. Geopolitical significance. Ukraine is strategically located between Europe and Russia. Its stability impacts regional dynamics, energy security, and broader geopolitical interests. Security guarantees help prevent further escalation and ensure stability in the region. Humanitarian considerations. The ongoing Russo Ukrainian war has resulted in loss of life, displacement, and suffering. Security guarantees are vital to protect civilians and prevent further humanitarian crises. Why is Europe ramping up protection of Ukraine now? Now, Europe and NATO have intensified their focus on Ukraine due to several critical factors. Russia aggression. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the security situation in the region has escalated significantly. The invasion posed a direct threat to peace and stability in the Euro Atlantic area. Europe recognizes the urgency of countering this aggression and preventing further escalation. NATO's role. Now, NATO as a collective defense alliance plays a crucial role in ensuring the security of its member countries. While Ukraine is not yet a NATO member, the alliance has expressed solidarity and unity in response to the conflict. NATO leaders have affirmed that Ukraine will eventually join the alliance once the war is over. Security guarantees. Now, European countries such as the United Kingdom, Germany, and soon France have committed to providing security guarantees to Kyiv. These guarantees aim to reassure Ukraine and deter further aggression. They include both societal and economic support as well as military assistance. Industrial base and arms production. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has emphasized the need to reconstitute and expand the industrial base for arms productions. Europe must increase deliveries of military equipment to Ukraine and replenish its own stocks. Humanitarian concerns. The ongoing conflict has resulted in a shortage of ammunition for Ukraine. European leaders recognize the urgency of supporting Ukraine militarily to address this shortfall. Why is Russia acting so aggressive towards Ukraine? The aggressive actions by Russia toward Ukraine have deep rooted causes. Historical legacy. Russia and Ukraine share a complex history that spans centuries. In the last century, Ukraine was a powerful republic within the former USSR and declared independence in 1991. However, Russia has closely monitored its Western neighbor, leading to tensions and periods of instability in Ukraine. Ukraine, independence and alignment. Ukraine's desire to align itself with Western countries, including its expressed interest in joining NATO, has been met with Russia aggression. NATO was partly founded to deter Soviet expansion, and Russia perceives Ukraine's alignment as a threat. Crimea annexation in 2014. In 2014, after Ukrainians ousted a Russia aligned president, Russia annexed Crimea under the pretext of protecting ethnic Russians and Russian speakers. Russia's actions were widely condemned internationally. This move escalated tensions significantly. Although, to be honest, no one recognizes Crimea as Russia. Crimea is part of Ukraine. Conflict in Donbas. Russia fomented dissension in the Donbas region of eastern Ukraine, backing separatist movements in Donetsk and Luhansk. Russia fueled armed conflict. These actions further strained relations between the two countries. Putin's ambitions. Russia President Putin has long sought to undo the consequences of the Soviet Union's collapse. His personal crusade has now manifested in renewed aggression against Ukraine. Undermining Ukraine, Moscow has consistently undermined Ukraine's democratic institutions. Tactics include interference in Ukrainian politics, blocking energy and commerce, propaganda, disinformation, and cyber attacks. So, why is Putin acting so paranoid? Putin, the leader of Russia, exhibits behavior that can be characterized as paranoid. So, historical context. Putin's upbringing in post war Leningrad, which is now St. Petersburg, significantly shaped his worldview. Growing up in a world class family in a grim environment, he learned early on that aggression and assertiveness were survival mechanisms. His KGB career further ingrained a sense of vigilance and suspicion, insecurity and aggression. Like many bullies, and Putin is a bully, Putin's aggression stems from insecurity. His rise through the ranks of the KGB was abruptly disrupted by the collapse of the Soviet Union. The fall of the Berlin Wall and the dissolution of the Eastern Bloc left him feeling betrayed and furious. Defensive psych. Putin's motorcade, with blacked out windows and heavy security, reflects his defensive psyche. His actions are driven by a fear of vulnerability and a need to protect himself and his regime. Misguided worldview. Rather than being a madman, Putin acts rationally according to his own warped, ill informed worldview. His recent invasion of Ukraine, justified with absurd claims of denazification, reveals glimpse into the dark recesses of his mind. Age and obsession with history. Putin is an aging leader. His obsession with history, although often misunderstood, drives his actions. He interprets historical events through a distorted lens, leading to misguided decisions. Will Putin ever admit defeat? Putin, although remains a complex figure, while predicting his actions is challenging. If you think about defeat and pride, admitting defeat is difficult for any leader, especially one with a strongman image like Putin. His pride and desire to maintain an appearance of strength may prevent him from openly conceding defeat. Strategic retreat. Rather than a direct admission of defeat, Putin might choose a strategic retreat. He could shift focus, declare a partial victory, or change the narrative to save face. Historical context. Putin's actions are often influenced by historical events and his perception of Russia's role. He may frame any setbacks as temporary, emphasizing long term goals. Escalation or negotiation. If faced with significant defeat, Putin could escalate the conflict to regain leverage. Alternately, he might seek negotiations behind closed doors. Public perception. Admitting defeat risks damaging his image domestically and internationally. He may prioritize maintaining an aura of strength over factual realities. Eventually, Putin will need to come to reality. The war is not going to end with him triumphant. That is a fact. Europe nor United States will not stand for him winning in Ukraine. Let's also face it, the ammunition and weapons will still come to Ukraine. Putin knows he is grasping since he is pulling in fighters from other countries. Although there are still men in Russia of age to fight, he does not want to have a mobilization, which will then send a message that men are dying and he needs help. He also does not want to draft men from the elite, as this will also be a bad perception for him. There are some of the elite, as well as the Duma, who know that they are losing and that they are in dire predicaments, but they have little choice to follow direction if they don't want to fall out of a window or have bad tea. Whatever the reason is, it is unfortunate that unless there is a drastic measure from Ukraine, this war will take a long time, either in defeat by Russia or when Putin is dead, whichever comes first. Sad but true. Let's hope that Ukraine keeps their strength up and they continue to receive the weapons they need to put this war to an end. That's all for now. Thank you so much for listening to Loose Lips, and until the next time.